All right, so with that, we have some Guilty Gear news. Yes, got some GG news, or rather, some trailers that came up, and some also proximity footage dropped from EVO Japan.
That's a very loud video.
Yeah. We'll talk about that video because I thought it was kind of funny how they had to have you set up to actually play the preview. For those that don't know, at EVO Japan, they did have a build of Strive there that you could actually play Bedman and get a feel for the character. LordKnight did go out there and check it out. But before EVO Japan happened, they did drop the introductory starter guide for Bedman to show just what the character is going to be capable of, what some of the parameters, and just the way that the kit's going to work. So it's very interesting. It's actually very interesting. The thing that does suck is going to be the naming scheme for all this. So Bedman clearly is different from the Exerd version, right, as a lot of other characters are rather different from their Exerd counterparts, but Bedman specifically had to get reworked because of the main mechanic, which is like deja vu, right, where you could press you would do different special moves and you could basically replay positioning, and it would cause a lot of craziness on the screen. That would be very potent. I mean, I thought it would have been really cool to have it in this game, but just tweak it. But they went with the route of just completely reworking the kit, but having some semblance of that. I guess you can also tie it up with how the character is like a busted up version of itself. It's not really at full power, so maybe you could call that the reasoning why it's different.
Hot take.
Yeah, go on.
Reminds me of Robokai a little bit. There's no meter, associated, but there's also no what's the meter? No, the meter was actually, he had an actual meter build, but it was just the robot meter. However, this sort of just like untested robot, and it's, well, I guess we can get into it now. So sort of like the delayed responses of follow-up moves.
Yes,
it's really interesting, and I don't think it's been really done before.
Yeah, so
but I say that it gives me Robokai vibes because of the sort of like levels ups you can get for each of these different follow-ups.
Yeah. Yep. So that is what we're calling. It's being called Error 6E, which is depending on the special move that Bedman does, there is a follow-up that will automatically. There's a timer that gets set, and you actually will see. That's what the sparks were that we were kind of looking at during the trailer. You'll see build up, and eventually something occurs from Bedman automatically. This is without any input from the player. It's just an automatic attack follow-up that happens over a certain amount of time. So depending on your depending on your special, you will get a different type of follow-up. Now, this we'll explain later how, but you can store this, you can delay it with another special move, but that status, Error 6E, goes away on hit or block. So it's not like guaranteed as if like they do a projectile and now 6E is occurring and now Bedman is in block stun. Will that follow-up projectile happen mid your string? No, because they're avoiding that, because it would be kind of broken, because it's like now it's guaranteed, taking back your turn and stuff. So they had to be a way to balance it. So on hit or on block, that status goes away. Now
imagine getting, by the way, hit by a 6P and then like, they try to do that, and it's like 6P into the rest of that move. Like,
oh yeah, it's gonna be good
if the 6P is good.
Yeah. So call 4BA is the first one. It's their projectile. It is a projectile that flies straight forward. In the air, it will also slightly track the positioning. It does track, but doesn't track like super perfectly. Like if you're full screen, chances are you'll probably get hit, but it does track from the full screen on that. When you're closer mid, you can avoid it. We'll see it in the follow-up. I think it's in that follow-up gameplay from LK that I noticed, because I think that's something he was testing to see how good the projectile is. And the call 6E is the little lightning bolt. That is the follow-up from that.
I just noticed that it's kind of like Dizzy. The Dizzy arrows not arrows, but used to throw up like different triangle like moves, like swords.
Yeah, a little bit. I could see that.
She had one in Guilty Reload that you could set up in the air and it would go away for a while. Like it'd be a small electric ball.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, kind of.
Quarter circle back heavy, I think it is.
I could see that. So call 4B3 is basically, I think it's like task B. Like these specials are like replacing what were called tasks in the previous rev. They were like task A, B, and C. Task 4B3 is like the spinning one. It's definitely like negative because they showed like you can definitely get punished for it. But the follow-up on it is very powerful. It's just a multi, I think it's a multi-hitting. Yep, it's a multi-hitting projectile. It's explosive. Think of it like the same animation when Potemkin like flicks back a projectile. It's that same animation. It's just 3 hits instead of 1. You can also do it in the air as well, so you can probably like TK it or you know, kind of use it as a good air to air. You can combo it from, you know, just like crouching HS and such. There's going to be definitely a lot of different ways to get through it. 4B9, aka Malfunction, is a quarter circle heavy slash. That's like the... I don't think that's an overhit, but I mean, it looks like it is for some reason. I don't, maybe not, but it's just the way it's swinging. It looks like it.
It might be because apparently you can delay it too.
Yes, you can delay it.
Maybe the full charge one is overhead. Not
maybe.
Sure.
So you get kind of like an explosive like hit on it that your opponent does go like up in the air. So it's an easy like RCable move to kind of extend from, because there's a lot of time before they hit the ground. You can probably juggle, maybe go for one of the prior specials, which I'm already forgetting the names of, like 4BA and such. There we go. Bam, got it. The follow up there on call 6E is the head pop. Boop. A little bit of a delay. The head pops from Bedman and blows you up. So it could definitely be useful post like hitting, especially if you're within, you know, say imagine you land it, you can then follow up with like a hit string, a block string that then ends with the head to probably keep you plus. So definitely very offensive, you know, move to kind of keep your offense going. So that's like, I'm trying to just already kind of theorize like where it could go. So yeah, it could be delayed by holding the heavy slash button to throw, you know, things like maybe a counter, like, you know, say like for a biking play, like throw off the timing on it. I'm trying to think what else. Maybe potential like FD blowups, right? Like if they're just trying to FD, you could just, you know, kind of save that time in between, or possibly even make something with. So call 0.2. I'm just gonna call it 0.2. Call 0.2 is a quarter circle back punch. And what it does, it makes the additional attacks occur, like the 6E attacks occur immediately. Or rather, excuse me, it delays it, right? Let me double check if it's delay or it's immediate.
Listen, that's a lot. But this one is the one that delays it. You can keep waiting on it. It doesn't cash out, basically. And that's what causes a mix-up. So you don't cash out, but you can delay on when you want to take it out. You want to do a grab and then it falls into it. It would be kind of a crazy mix.
Oh, I think I got this. Yeah, I think I got it. I think I got it mixed up on it.
The other one makes it happen faster, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, instant.
So it makes air 6E attacks happen automatically. Got it.
No, it says it's air okay.
Yeah.
It's just that it happens much faster, I would believe. Or there's just another. Yeah, it just happens instantly.
Okay, so it does. So instead of waiting, okay, I was confused. I thought that one, it's the call one is the one that actually delays it. Okay, so those two.
Oh, okay.
So there were two. I was like, I'm not tripping. I was like, I knew I saw one that delayed it. Yeah, we don't have the character yet. We will soon, hopefully. But yeah, so call 0.2 will immediately make the follow-ups happen. I'm assuming when you do it though, there's gaps in it from the animation for you actually inputting it. But then call, I don't even know what they're calling this one. It's like call 0. What's it called? Hold on. Okay, call 1. God,
5,
so
10,
they really could not make these moves any more harder for commentators or casters to call out. So call 1 then is the one that delays that immediate or the eventual timer on the 6E moves. That's the one that you kind of like can just store it and then do it again, like so you can switch up the timing. Now, whether or not can you do it more than once is what I'm trying to figure out. So it's like, can you continuously store it? Like if you're in full screen and do the projectile, can you just like keep storing it before you go in, so that way you can just like hold that to bust out with it later, right? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't see any other meters, so why not?
Yeah. So call 1-3C is a really cool install super. It's a half circle back forward slash, and that basically just increases all those follow-up 6E like moves are just buffed. Like some of them are pretty wild, like especially that fireball one now becomes like a full screen, just super heavy fireball, multi-hitting that just drags the opponent across it, and it will cause all wall break. Yeah, all the follow-ups will then cause wall break. And then you have call 4C, which is just a blast, a single hit blast, super invo on wake up, on knockdown. So we got a wake up move, right? So now you don't have to worry about it. Now it's like, think of it kind of like Rams, super. It's just invo off the rip, so you can actually just bust out with it if need be. Depending on how the splash damage is, you're going to be able to use it between strings that your opponent has. If you see gaps to kind of call them out on, if you have 50 tension. And of course, they didn't go into it specifically, but we do have the 8-way dash that is confirmed.
Yeah,
8-way dash is there. So yeah, you can expect some movement. So I think this character honestly is going to be high APM a bit, because you're constantly trying to juggle the follow-up moves or trying to lock it in to make sure you can have an approach after certain special moves naturally. So I think this character is going to be playing really well, can play I think well at the full screen right now with just the projectile game and the follow-up to it to kind of cover your approach coming in. But once you're in, especially if you do like that install, I think you're going to be able to kind of just really just run havoc on your opponent, because you're going to be able to kind of fill in gaps in your offense that maybe naturally are open, but now with those follow-ups from call 6E and such, and especially if you have that install, it'll become very nerve-wracking for your opponent to deal with.
And one thing I don't like is, well, I guess as you're fighting Bedman, character Delilah shows up in front of him, but shows up behind the other character, so it doesn't obscure your opponent.
Yes,
but
that would be
a little bit
cheap.
obscure to you.
No, yeah, it would be pretty cheap, but yeah. So checking out LK's video, just going through all the buttons that we're putting out there. There's already some that are kind of showing up to be pretty potent, like crouching or 2S. It's kind of a swipe. Could potentially be hitting behind too, because it's like a 360. You kind of see the trails it creates there. Looks really good. Standing 5HS looks solid. I think what is it? 2HS? 2HS is like a really, really slow button. Is that 2HS or is that 6HS? Oh, I think that's 6HS. Let me see. Let me just double check that. Oh, that's 6HS. I was gonna say that's like really slow. So 6HS is there. So there's gonna be some gaps for sure. I just want to point it out. You're only allowed 5 minutes on this setup, and they even got a timer down there. As soon as a representative would walk away, I would instantly be like, let me keep going. What you mean? No, it's only been 5 minutes, bro. We do have 5 minutes.
5 minutes ago.
We do have the stomp. The bed stomp as well. That's, I think it's is it dust by chance? Let me double check. Is it dust? We got H. Yeah, so it is dust. Air dust is the bed stomp. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it.
Not exactly a DP though.
No, no. So we do have some close buttons as well we're messing with here throughout the entirety. I think LK does go into guard after first, or guard only first, to kind of get an idea for some potential strings as to like what they do. But yeah, you guys can check out the entire video there, but it's more of a breakdown, or not a breakdown, but just a little bit more of a exhibition as to like what the character can do. And some really interesting stuff. We haven't, to my knowledge, gotten a date to Bedman yet, right? I don't think we've seen when they will drop, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. I would assume it's gonna be soon, because like if they already have this character kind of this far along, and we haven't had anything new since, was it Bridget or Sin? Who was the last one? Oof. It was Sin, right?
Oh man, Sin. Yeah, the day I went to Washington DC, we got the announcement. It was like Thanksgiving. I want to say after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
First week of December.
Yeah, it's been a tiny bit. So
just in April.
Yeah, would be a good time to actually release Bedman, but looks potent. I like a character that has a lot of utility. I think Bedman might actually be a kind of second for me. Not gonna lie, I might actually rock the Bedman. We'll see how it turns out.
How do you hit a stance on a bed?
I don't know. How do you hit a stance on the bed?
I don't know. You tell me. You're a stance character.
Yeah, I know.
Specialist.
There is also, I just did want to also highlight one more video, which is from Ozzy GB on YouTube. Did a really awesome comparison video between Exert Bedman and Rev, kind of explaining Bedman, explaining kind of like, what's replacing what, or what's supplementing between certain moves from Exert versus Strive, and shows what Bedman could do in the previous one versus what this one does. You're probably gonna be like, wow, they nerfed the shit out that character. I mean, kind of. The stuff you could do in Rev though is also completely insane compared to what Strive is allowing characters to do. So trust, you're not gonna be the only one there with that overall